Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another webinar. I'm so excited to go through the session we have today. With me, I actually have Asif over here. I'm Akhil Bodu, co-founder and COO at Zayo. And Asif, intro.
How's it, everyone? My name is Asif. I think you should have met me in the previous lives. I am CTO at Zayo.
Awesome, guys. So, a lot of exciting things we have planned today. The purpose of today's webinar is to identify the difference between data science and full stack web development. Which is the right path for you? What is the next path, the ideal thing that you should choose? So we will be going through a whole bunch of things. We're going to talk about what is it that you're going to achieve at the end of the training. So what are the career prospects like? What exactly is data science? What exactly is full stack web development? What are the key skills and tools that you need to be aware of jumping into these two different fields? I think that's a great indicator to actually see which one resonates with you and which one you are more likely to enjoy. And we also have some demos that we're going to go through. So shout out to the demo gods. Let's hope it goes well. And we have a special surprise for you guys. I'm super excited for you to go through that with you guys. Just make sure to stick around till the end so that we can share our surprise with you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. We're here to answer your questions. We want it to be as engaging and as useful as possible for you guys. We are here for you. So yeah, Asif, how are you feeling? Let's about today.
I'm very excited, right? It's a topic that's we've been hearing a lot of questions that are coming on this topic from a lot of individuals since we've launched our data science bootcamp. Because now our students are confused. You guys are showing us two different tech paths. Which one do we take? Why are you teaching both of them? So we're here to uncover that today.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome to Zayo. Zayo is our online coding school. We are jumping more into digital skills. We're on a mission to solve a very crucial problem that we're experiencing in South Africa, which is a 64% unemployment rate, right? Which is really hectic. So our goal is to create as many talented youth as possible, like help you unlock your potential so that we can get you placed into industry. Asif, anything you'd like to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, I'm so excited. I want to get this running, right? I want to answer questions, but
Yeah. Comments, guys. Drop any questions in the comments.
okay.
Sweet.
So I guess I killed you. Let's start off, right? Um, so I think the first thing is like just outline differences between web development and data science, right? By web development, I mean full stack web development, right? So let's start off with that, right? How about you give some insights on web dev, and I'll give
Yeah,
some insights on data science.
absolutely. I think that's a great starting point. Like, what is data science? What is full stack web development? So I'll start off with full stack web development. So full stack web development is the process of building an application from end to end. So that basically means, let's say you have Instagram, right? Being able to build the front end, so being able to interact with the UI, so the user interface, so the buttons, the scroll effect, the DMs, right? Being able to visually build those components. So coding that out is basically the front end. And then the back end is actually viewing useful data, right? So storing all that in the database, ensuring we're following security protocols, and all that amazing stuff happens in the back end. So full stack web development is essentially knowing how to do both of these things end to end. You're able to actually build the front end, and then you're actually able to build the back end. And with that, you're able to build full stack applications, right? I think that's a good description of what full
Yeah.
stack is. So what is data science, Asif?
So data science, right? Like there's a lot of ways to answer that question, right? But this is how I like answering it. It's basically using data, right, to make useful business decisions, and just finding patterns in data to solve problems that are out there, right? That's the most simplest way to put it. And what's crazy is that you just mentioned about full stack development. It's the full stack applications that actually collect data, if you think about it, right? So we have
Absolutely, yeah.
Netflix that collects, you're watching movies. Netflix is a full stack application, but what's
Yeah.
collecting the data is the whole system. Netflix system is what's collecting data. So they're both very interlinked, right? And that's the cool part of it. So whether you go down the data science route or whether you go down the web dev route, they're both very you'll be working in teams together as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I want to just add on over here about data science is that it's revolutionized industries, like, from healthcare to finance to entertainment, right? Like when we go on TikTok or when we go on Instagram, we just don't feel like leaving it, right? Like we're constantly in this loop of scrolling through all these different reels, right? And that's because they're so good with collecting this data and providing the right recommendations. So those are the kind of things that you'll actually learn in data science, where you're actually able to come up with systems where you're collecting this data and you're automatically making decisions to provide the right kind of recommendations. I think something that was like, very early on, something that I felt prey to is YouTube, right? Like, you go on YouTube, you start watching one video, and then you see that recommendations there, and you just like go down a rabbit hole, and you're constantly watching these videos, right? And that's how these companies have like exponentially grown their revenues, right? So in both these fields, right, whatever field you choose to pursue, there's a lot of power, right? With full stack development, you're building these systems where you can like collect this data, and with data science, you're actually helping companies make better decisions and better use of that data, right? Which is fundamentally going to drive revenue in companies, right? I think let's pause for a moment over here to see, are there any questions in the audience, right? If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We're here for you. We want to make sure this is a very productive session for you. So if there's any questions, please feel free and drop it in the chat. So yeah, I think if there's any questions, drop it in the chat. But I think let's continue while we wait for any questions to come in, right? I think let's dive a bit deeper into like, data science and full stack web development, right? Maybe let's talk about the skills breakdown, right? Like what exactly are the skills that you're going to gain in full stack web development versus data science? So maybe we can alternate this time, and you can go through full stack web development. Like what are the skills that a full stack engineer would pick up?
All right, cool. So the full stack engineer, right? Like this is what we teach in our course, but there's obviously various paths you can take, right? So basically what you'd first learn is the basics of web development, so which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So whether you're learning full stack development, the Python route, the C# route, or even in the JavaScript route, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is fundamental. So with that, you'll be able to build basic websites, which are also functional, kind of, right? And interactive websites, because now using JavaScript. But now you move into something called React.js and Node.js, which is more advanced web development. So React.js is basically a front end, it's like a front end library, and Node.js your backend library. And what you will do is you will firstly build the look and feel of the application using React.js, and you will use Node.js to then like process your data that comes in, right? So for example, let's say you're building a Facebook app and you want to now build the like button, right? So when you click on the like button and the button goes blue, that's basically a front end job, right? But for you to store that Akhil or Asif has liked this post, that's backend's job, right? So that's basically what the skills that you use. And then you can use various databases to link with your backend. An example is MongoDB, which we love. The whole Zio platform is built on MongoDB database. Another very famous one, which is used by corporates a lot, is SQL. So those are the two common databases that I've seen that are out there. Yeah. Now tell us about data science. What is the different skills? What are the different skill sets here?
No, absolutely. I think with data science, the first thing you're going to learn is programming, right? So you're going to learn how to do it in Python, right? So you're going to learn the fundamentals of Python. So Python is a really basic programming language. And once you're done with that, you'll jump into learning how to clean data, right? So like Asif mentioned, in full stack web development, we're using MongoDB or SQL to actually collect all this data, right? Once we have this data, how do we actually manipulate this data? How do we clean it up in a way that makes sense to us so that we can make some kind of inferences with it, right? So for that, you're going to learn pandas, you're going to learn NumPy, Matplotlib, and Seaborn, right? And this is how we're going to like manipulate the data so that we can take advantage of this large data sets so we can analyze them, right? Obviously, one of the biggest questions that we get all the time is how important is math and how important is stats jumping into data science, or even full stack web development, right? So for full stack web development, don't worry about math. You can get started even if you don't have any math background. For data science as well, you don't need to have, the way we have structured our content, you don't need to have any prerequisites. So for both programs, you don't need math as a background. But one of the things that we have included in our training is the key areas of math and statistics that would be important as a data scientist, right? So there's linear algebra, we're going to go through statistics. And also, there is a little bit of an overlap between full stack and data science over here, because you're going to learn a backend, right? How to work with the backend. So specifically, you're going to learn how to work with SQL, right? Which is very widely used across the industry, right? And then I think one of my favorite things about data science is actually machine learning algorithms, right? You're going to learn, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and you're going to basically build your own ML models, right? Your own recommendation algorithms. So I think I'm super excited to see what kind of solutions students are actually going to build in these programs. And honestly, like, I'm already a full stack engineer, and I know a little bit of data science as well, but I feel like there's so much that's out there, and there's so much that you can learn, and there's so much that you can take away from it, But let's take a moment to actually see if there's any questions in the chat. Guys, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat below. I can see that I can see a question on my screen over here. So the question is, which one is better between the two? I love how controversial this question is. Asif, do you want to take that one?
So my thing is, I don't think anything's better, right? I don't want to okay, look, I'm a full stack engineer, right? I don't want to favor, I don't want to favor full stack as well, but I just feel like both of them have very important roles in the tech industry, right? So, for example, with yes, you can build a full stack app, right? But you need to make that app to make it more engaging. Data can be very helpful. So let me give you guys an example. So let's say Instagram, right? When you're scrolling through Instagram and your videos are just random videos, you'll get tired at a point. But how does Instagram keep you hooked, right? It's because they know what kind of content you like. So if you like something, or if you're spending more than 10 seconds in a specific video, they know that you like that kind of stuff, right? And they recommend that to you, and then you enjoy using Instagram. So that's why I just feel like there is no better one. Okay, I know that's a very diplomatic answer, but I just feel like both of them have a very important role. It all depends on your interest, right? And what you personally would enjoy doing. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think you've actually phrased it quite well. I think it basically comes down to what are your personal interests, right? If you're somebody who has no kind of background experience, right, in coding, like if you've not at all done any kind of coding in the past, then I feel like wherever you start is going to be amazing for you, right? Whatever path you choose is actually going to be very, very helpful for you. The cool thing about being in the tech scene is that once you learn one set of skills, it's very easy to migrate into the next set of skills, right? I mean, like we've had developers who've started off with just basic front end and back end development, who have gone on to become data scientists, right? They didn't learn full stack and become data scientists. They basically learned full stack. They became good at programming. They became good at problem solving. I think that's the biggest takeaway over here, right? Whatever path you choose to go on, you are going to become a good problem solver, right? And as long as you're a good problem solver, after you have those fundamental skills, you're going to hit a ceiling at a point. You're just going to be like, okay, is this it? Is that all with like full stack development? Is that all with, front end and back end? Or, is that all with like, ML algorithms? Like, what more can I do, right? And that's when like you got to tease your curiosity, keep feeding your curiosity, and to go into different areas. I know, again, it's a diplomatic answer, but I think if I have to be like brutally honest and a little bit biased, I think full stack is a great starting point, right? Because it's very, I think it's a lot more, user-friendly in a manner, right? Especially for somebody who's keen on the UI side of things, right? You start off with full stack, like as long as as you learn HTML, CSS, you're building like a Netflix UI, right? Which personally feels a lot more exciting, But at the same time, in data science, you're building like a recommender algorithm. So that's also very interesting. So yeah, man, like it's a really tough one to answer. I think dabble with, like, um, with full stack. I think it's a great starting point, and then gradually you can do both streams. Increase your chances of becoming employable by doing both streams. But yeah, I think I'd love to hear it in the chat, guys. Like, which skills are you more excited to learn, right? Drop it in the chat, like, data science or full stack, right? I think I'm gonna, like, vouch for um, data science, right? Because I think data science, there's a big need for data scientists out there, right? I think that if you become a good data scientist, you're easily going to get a job compared relative to full stack, which I think is moving us to our next segment, right? But before we move on to our next segment, guys, if you're here for the first time, welcome to Zio. We're all about helping you guys become more employable. And today we are talking about data science or full stack. What is the better starting point for you? We're going to be jumping into the career opportunities, probably the part which is very, very exciting for all of you. And also, we have a surprise for you. So if you've been with us up until this point, we have a surprise for you at the end. So stay tuned. We'll be jumping into the surprise soon. All right. So let's jump into the next segment, which is around the career opportunities and the job market insights, right? So I think let's start off with the data science career opportunities, which we briefly touched on, right? I know that one of the biggest things, biggest needs we have is like for data scientists, right? And one of my favorite things about data science, the reason why I feel like it's extremely high in demand, is because it's so vast. Like, data science is very broad. Like, once you learn data science, you're opening yourself up to like data analyst jobs, junior data scientist jobs, machine learning engineer jobs. So I just feel like you're automatically exposed to a lot more opportunities. We're talking about, like, tremendous amounts of salaries going from like 18,000 rands a month to 25,000 rands a month for entry level positions, right? And as you gain more and more experience, you could be earning like 7 million rands per year, right? So it's like it's ridiculous, the amount of, like, money that you can earn as a data scientist. I think the career prospects are fantastic, right? Like, what you could potentially earn as a data scientist is a lot more, right? So yeah, I think that kind of like encapsulates like the opportunities in data science. I'm not sure, Asif, if you'd like to add more to that before we move on to full stack.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? With data science, there's very less of them, right? So full stack web development is something that's been going on for. It's something that people have been like doing for a long time. A lot of improvements have been made already, so it's much more stable as well. But when it comes to data science, I feel like there's a lot jobs that are being created, especially with the AI boom that's happening right now, right? I think ever since ChatGPT has been like, something that has been discovered by mankind, it's just like a lot of things are being built on top of that, right? And it's like people have seen the power of AI and data, what it can do. So I just feel like right now the demand for data scientists is way much more than full stack developers, but the demand is there for full stack developers as well. But I think at this moment in time, especially in South Africa, because no one saw this boom of AI happening, right? Like, all AI companies are like crashing stocks right now. Nvidia is like the top S&P 500 company right now. It's all because of the AI boom, right? And I just feel like the demand for AI data scientists and just people working with data is going to be way much more. And that's why salaries right now are way much more higher than normal full stack developers.
Yeah, no, I think it's
so that's my take.
No, I think there's like a huge amount of opportunity. And I think the way we have structured the learning journey, actually, just for context, guys, whenever we structure these journeys, we actually get industry expertise as well, right? Like, there's no point teaching you guys skills which will not be applied like in industry, right? So from consulting a lot of companies, we've seen that there is a big need for data scientists, right? And the journey that we have created directly feeds into that, right? So if you're following the structure that we have, the whole project-driven outcomes, right? Learning by building real projects, I think your chances of actually landing the job, like, yeah, there is a demand, but do you have the skills to actually land the job, right? I think that's where we come in and will guide you and handhold you to make sure that you're actually able to land a job, right? So data science is something that I personally am really excited about, and with the whole AI wave as well, I think there's a lot, right? I do think that it's like, what would you have to say around like the difficulty levels, like, in terms of data science or full stack? Like, which one do you think is easier to go into?
Okay, so data science. I'll be honest about this, right? So I did do some data science, right? Like I remember, I'll just talk about a project that. So I remember when ChatGPT released, we had to. So we were trying to like incorporate that into Zayo, and what we were trying to build was basically an AI tutor to help with Zayo courses, right? But we had this whole problem where, like, because like if you ask a question in ChatGPT, it would answer anything, right? But we wanted to specifically answer questions that were based on like coding questions, right? So that was my first time I actually tried doing something with data, right? And what I decided to do was to actually create a classification algorithm to classify whether something is a coding question or not a coding question. And the whole reason for that is because ChatGPT would charge us for every question that was asked by our tutor, right? So that was the first time I dabbled into data science, and I won't lie, I struggled, even though I am a full stack developer, right? I did struggle a bit. I spent almost 3 days just upskilling myself about about just using Python for data science. But the difficulty level is there for somebody who's a full stack developer to even like feel the difficulty. It was there, but I just feel like if you actually sit down and put in the work, it's actually not that bad. You just need to sit down and like break it down piece by piece. For a beginner, definitely full stack is a much more easier thing to start off with than data science, because there's a lot of things in data science that will not make sense in the beginning. You'll have to just like reiterate and go back to it again and again. But again, remember, the pay for data science is way much more higher, because of the demand even right now. So the work is definitely worth it, right? So yeah, that's the thing about difficulty levels.
Yeah, no, I think it's an important thing for the audience to be aware of. Yeah, sorry.
I remember you built something, a sentiment analysis.
Yeah.
During I think I used.
Yeah. So I built a really cool, like, this was my first experience with data science, right? So I created a model that basically, firstly, it started off with, I think I used NumPy. First, I used a scraper, right? So I was actually pulling tweets from Twitter, right? Back when it was called Twitter. And then basically I used NumPy to kind of clean up the data that was coming from there. And then it was a full stack application, by the way. Huh? It was a full stack. So I actually built a beautiful UI, right? I built a search bar, and then on the search bar, you could type like a keyword, right? You could type something like Trump, for example, Donald Trump. And what it would do is it would scrape the data from Twitter, right? And I don't remember what algorithm I used, but I used some machine learning library, like TensorFlow library, right? To basically determine what is the sentiment on the tweets that I've pulled. So I've pulled up a whole bag of tweets, right? And basically I analyzed each tweet to see whether it's like a positive or negative sentiment, right? And then it would give an average. It would spit out an average of like, what is the general sentiment on this topic, right? So I think it would pull, like, I don't remember what limit I set on how many tweets, but I think it would pull about 100 tweets, right? And from those 100 tweets, it would basically spit out like what the sentiment is. So if I go there and type Zayo and like, if, there's like the sentiment is good, right? It will basically indicate like, that it's a positive sentiment that we have for Zayo, right? If it's not so good, you'll see negative, right? So that's basically the idea. I think that was my first experience. Dude, like I completely forgot I built that, man. Shout out. But I think it was definitely
you guys
my
see like how project. Yeah. Now I was gonna say, like, I just want to like let our audience know that how the data science part linked with your full stack app. Like you'd collect the data, but then you have to show it in a visual way, and then store that data somewhere as well. So that's where full stack and data science like work hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think that's why, honestly speaking, I know it doesn't sound like a very economical option, right? But I would recommend you actually learn both, right? To just make you a holistic engineer at the end of the day, right? Like at the end of the day, you want to be somebody who can, who is very well experienced in you can't be like 100% expert in all domains if you go down that route. But I think later on, when you become a team lead or like, senior developer or product manager, I think you're going to be extremely successful, right? Like product managers earn a lot of money. And I think that's like the natural progression. Like as you go from an engineer to then becoming a team lead, to then eventually becoming, well, you go as senior engineer first, right? And then after senior engineer, you become a team lead. And then after team lead, you become a PM. Like the salary increase is just like tremendous, right? But yeah, I think just coming
Exponential.
back, yeah, it's very exponential, and I think it's very exciting space to be in. Whatever path you choose, I think just get started, right? Like flip a coin and get started if you want to, but I think get started. I think you don't want to miss this wave, like this whole wave we're in. Like there's also a tremendous career opportunities for full stack, right? Like we're talking about starting salaries ranging from 15K to 25K, which is also fantastic, and you will be building real world applications, and there is a need for good full stack engineers, right? Like you'll be surprised how many people are actually not good at what they do, right? And that's why quality matters a lot when it comes to the kind of material that you're learning and the path that you choose, right? um, so both ways the career opportunities are great, and I think at any given time there's like 200,000 tech jobs that are unfilled. So whatever skill you choose to pursue, the chances of landing in a job is extremely high. But at this stage, at this time, it will probably be easier to land a job as a data scientist. So I think that is something
Mhm.
that you have to be aware of. But fundamentally, if you have to choose which one you want to get started with, I think just get started. Like you just want to jump into it. And given that there's a higher pay, there's potentially a higher demand for data science, I think it's a great time to start. Like the timing is amazing, right? Data science is an amazing thing to actually enter into at this particular era that we're in, right? Okay, by the way, guys, since you guys have stuck with me all over here, I know I've been yapping about a surprise. So I just want to go ahead and Asif, do you wanna share the surprise, the announcement?
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, since you've come, you've like supported us in this webinar, and you're here right now listening to us, right? Surprise is that for our bootcamp starts like next week, right, on 16th of October, which is our full stack, and our data science one starts on 21st of October. It was supposed to start on the 16th, but we extended the deadline and starting date to 21st of October. And yeah, so we usually have admission fee of 150 rand when you're basically it's an application fee when you're applying for the boot camps. But for anyone for the next 48 hours, we are keeping the admission fee to 1 rand, right? So we dropped it from 150 rand to 1 rand. So whoever's here is gonna know about it, and if and yeah, you guys can apply for our boot camps. We will assist your application literally for 1 rand.
Yeah, go crazy, guys. Just 1 rand applications. You can give it a shot. Either way, whatever path that you choose to do, it's the same application process. And fundamentally, you want to get into tech. I think that's something we're both in agreement with. Whether you're the data science party or like the full stack party, just know that you want to
Yeah.
get into tech, right? And as long as you're getting into tech, your chances of success in the future are extremely high, right? Like it's not just you get into tech, you learn skills and you're done, right? It's a very like evolutionary process. Like once you start learning one skill, you jump on to the next, right? So I think it's something to just be aware of. Just get into tech. 1 rand applications, guys. Go nuts, right? I think while we're here, let's see if we have any questions in the audience, right? Are there any questions? Are there any comments? Are you guys going nuts on our surprise? Are you happy? Okay, so I can see a question over here. How many hours is required as a full-time employee to complete the course per day or per week? Asif, you want to take that?
Yeah, so this question is quite interesting, right? Because the kinds of people that join our boot camps are two types. Okay, so there's the guys who just finish matric and they want to get into the job industry, or guys who are already working and now they want to shift their career or they want to learn a new skill, to like just make the skill set better. So for guys that are working, right, how I have seen the students tackle that is you would spend approximately 2 to 3 hours a day, right? And some days, obviously, you can't keep up with the work, which is fine because then you have the weekends to catch up, right? But I have seen around 2 to 3 hours that works best. And then, yeah, obviously, for the assignments, you always like we're very flexible with working with you guys, right? If you can't submit an assignment on time, we see that you haven't submitted, you tell us, hey, I was busy because I'm a working person. We don't penalize you for that stuff. So we're very flexible with the way you submit your assignments, submit your projects, attend classes, and complete your tasks. It's very flexible because we know that you're working with someone who's working. And a lot of the time, people that are working usually come after work and like complete their work when they come back from when they finish their job. So yeah, so 2 to 3 hours, and we also have a night. So one of our classes are at night, so which means that you can come back from work and take your class at night. We don't like if you can't make the day one, it's recorded. The night one is always there for you to attend. So yeah, just to answer your question, around 2 to 3 hours a day. Sometimes even 1 hour when the task list is smaller, but approximately 2 to 3, on average 2 to 3 hours.
Whereas, how long is the boot camp?
How long is the boot camp?
Yeah, so basically, guys, the boot
Okay,
camp
let me
is
take
6.
it.
Wait, why is there a lag, man? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You can take it.
All right, cool. So the boot camp is 6 months, right? The full stack boot camp is 6 months. The data science one, we even say 6 months, but it can extend to 7 months given the difficulty level. Not scaring you guys, but just heads up so you can match your expectations, right? But yeah, so it's 6 months for the full stack one, and can take even 6 months for the data science, but can take 7 months.
Is Zayo credited?
That's my question as well. Why all these nice questions? So yeah, so basically, yes, Database is accredited. Right? So we were previously accredited with MICT CETA. Now we are getting accredited with the QCTO. There's a whole transition where the MICT CETA is now under QCTO, so you have to apply with QCTO. So we are getting our QCTO accreditation, but currently we are accredited with MICT CETA.
So the next question how can AI web-based platforms assist with maths and stats? Okay, so that's an interesting one. So I mean, like I'm not sure how to perceive this question, but basically, I think to learn how to, or like, is the question more around like learning maths and statistics? Because definitely, I think with AI, like with ChatGPT, I think there are various websites where you can actually learn maths and statistics in a very comprehensive manner, right? However, to become a good AI engineer, right, I think there are certain concepts that are very important in maths and statistics, right? For example, linear algebra and maths, right? Very crucial when it comes to building machine learning algorithms, right? So that is something that you will learn in Zayo, right? So you don't have to stress about going on other platforms and learning maths and statistics. If you're very curious, like we always say at Zayo, feed that curiosity, right? I encourage you to go and learn wherever it is, right? However, if you want to become a data scientist, we'll teach you exactly what you need to succeed as a data scientist and become a successful data scientist, with the specific topics that are required actually to thrive in that industry.
I think I want to add on to this question, right? So his question is, how can AI web-based platform assist with maths and stats, right? So yeah, just to answer the previous question, what I think is it can help a lot with visualization because it's complex. I think when you're trying to visualize a certain graph in a 3D model, I think that's where you would actually use, I think, the visualizations Matplotlib and Seaborn when in the data science aspect. I think that's where you would use that to actually understand your graphs or visualize them and pick up the information from that graph. Yeah.
No, I actually love that answer. I think there's one of our friends actually runs a startup, and it's basically the idea. It's for high schoolers, right? For students, for in not even high schools, like K-12, right? Like, in primary, right? Where they actually learn how to code using maths, right? So I think it's Matplotlib Python is a great way to actually visualize your different equations and actually see what happens if you tweak a certain variable. Like if you increase x by a certain amount, how does that look, right? So that's actually a great take on that. I like that. So the next question is, currently upgrading, is it safe to join now or just wait for next year, Jan? I think, guys, in this space, the sooner you join, the better. Like, wouldn't it be really cool to go into 2025 having some set of skills where you can actually start applying for opportunities? I think apply now. Like, that's what I think. What do you think, Asif?
No, definitely. The earlier you start, the better, because it's just that a point, a point will come where you will need to practice a lot. So this wrapping up the skills is the most difficult part. When you're practicing, you have the skills to practice with, and that's what actually you gain more experience. And companies are looking for experienced people, right? So the earlier you start, the earlier you can get your experience.
Yeah. I think, guys, if you're here, please feel free to drop questions in the comments, like which is the better path to choose, which is the path that resonates with you. Please feel free to drop your questions in the comments so that we can demystify this for you and assist you with making that decision. So if there's any other questions, let's see it. And also, just a reminder, guys, our surprise was that now you can actually go ahead and do our application. Instead of paying the 150 rand application fee, we're waiving that, and we're making it a 1 rand application fee, so you can actually complete the whole application process just for 1 rand. So go ahead and take full advantage of this. Go crazy with that. I'm not sure if we have any more comments, right? But I think, Asif, how are you feeling about sharing a demo? Should we, like, while we wait for more questions to come in, should we go ahead and maybe
Yeah, let me do that.
let's visually show like what exactly is the difference between data science and full stack web development with a demo, right? What better way to actually to go through this than to actually show you, what actually is the difference, right? So once again, guys, please go ahead and drop any questions. Yeah.
How do I know if can you guys see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Because I don't think it's.
I can't see it.
Hey guys, so if you're on Instagram, because I am sharing it.
Okay, I think it might be working now. There we go. Screen sharing. Yeah, I can see it.
There you go. Okay, go to that. All right, cool. So I'm going to start off with a data science demo. All right. Let me see where it is. Data science demo is here, right? So here, basically, I use something called Google Colab, right? Just waiting for. All right, cool. So you know how we have like a Netflix recommendation system, right? This is like a book recommendation system, right? So this would be like, a book website would actually use this thing, all right? And what it does is basically grabs data of like a different book and the rating that the user gave to that book, correct? You can see that's here. That's what the data set looks like. This is the first 5 records of the data set. And obviously what you want to do is you need to have like a training set and testing set. That basically means that what data are you going to use to train your recommendation system, and what data are you going to use to test your recommendation system, right? So you split your data into two, which is a training and a test, as you can see over here. So by the way, this is Python, guys. If you guys don't know, this is Python. It looks like English. And yeah, like you have two data sets. This is your training data set. This is your test data set. And then you can see that you have basically 53,000 users that rated it, and you have 10,000 books, right? So you need to keep happening there is that your data, your model is learning, right? And the errors decrease the more you train it. So you can see epochs basically means the number of times you've trained it. In the training area, you can see it goes from 14 all the way to like 1, right? So that's the training error that goes down, right? Um, and then just moving towards like the result of what we'll be expecting here, right? Is this. I'm not going to show you all of this because this gets down on the screen and making sense out of it. You learn about all of this in the bootcamp. But what I want to show you is this side, right? So this is basically for an example table, okay, for the kind of books a user would like, right? So for example, the specific user we chose is a sample, and this is the kind of books they like. You see, they like books like The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Twilight. This is the title of the book. And what happens here, these are the recommended books that came out. And this is basically books from other, like, Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie, The Crippled God, The Algebrist, The Soccer Planes, How Soccer Explains the World, and The Sculptor. So these are different recommendations, right, that you're getting out by putting in information of this user. So that's basically like, this is the data that was created, right? And this data would be fed to a full stack app that's the e-commerce site that sells books, right? So that's basically how this would work. Before I move on to the full stack application, do you guys have any questions, or do you want to share your thoughts about what you think about this recommendation system?
Yeah, no, that was
All
a
right, cool. Let's
phenomenal.
move on to the next one, right?
Yeah,
So
I think
this basically is a tic-tac-toe game that was built by one of our students in the bootcamp, right? And they've actually deployed it on an app called Netlify. That's where you can put your apps live, right? Okay, and yeah, this is basically a game, right? And you can see it's a proper tic-tac-toe game. I think he's even put music in here. Yeah, there's music as well. And then you can see that this is an actual tic-tac-toe game. Right, so this is basically a demo of what student built. You can see player 1 minutes around, you can play the game like you play, right? But yeah, that's basically the demo. Akhil, have I lost you?
no, I'm right here. So I think that was a really good demo, right? The tic-tac-toe was actually one of my favorite courses, right? No, it was very sleek, the sound effects and all, and also the whole like recommendation algorithm. I think that's fantastic, right? So yeah, I think we can now drop it in the comments, guys. Which demo did you like? Did you like the full stack demo, or did you like the data science demo? Right. Let's hear what people have to say in the chat. Right. Do you prefer working with data and coming up with very interesting insights, or do you prefer to build interactive websites? All right. So are there any questions? Do we have any questions in the chat? I know we've covered a lot today, guys, so I'm sure you have questions. Let's jump into it. Asif, you want to take that one? How much is the data science course?
Yeah, so the data science course is 29,500, right? Rands. And you can fund it in three different ways. You can either pay upfront, or you can pay it in two parts, like two installments, like 13,000, 13,000. No, sorry, not 13,000. Was it 13,000?
The data science one is
No,
15.
it was 15,000, 15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15,000, 15,000. Or you can pay it via financing partner. Minati is our go-to financing partner. So they are a bit more lenient when they're giving study loans. So you can sign up with Minati. When you actually fill in your application form, our team will reach out to you and help you like apply for Minati. And yeah, you can. I mean, they give you a 12-month loan from what I recall.
Awesome. Any other questions? Where is the Zayo campus located? So, guys.
All right, cool. So we don't necessarily have a campus. There's a lag, man. Okay, take this question.
Yeah, guys, like Asif was saying, we don't have a campus, but if you want to visit us, we're at the Luno building in Cape Town, CBD. We're on the 30th floor. You can always come find us there, interact with us. We're a fully online platform, online school, right? So you will be able to learn everything online. But we've also had lots of students actually come into our offices to interact with us in person, to see are we actually real or are we a scam, you know? So definitely feel free to come to the Luno building so you can interact with us.
Yeah, so the address is 9 Lower Berg Street in Cape Town.
Oh yeah, 9 Lower Berg Street, the Luno building in Cape Town, CBD. So can you tell us more about the Microsoft certification that is provided in the Data Science Bootcamp?
Yeah, so basically the certification that comes with it is you cover this towards the end. So once you've learned your whole, like basically your whole data science fundamentals, right? Obviously, then when you're training larger data sets, right, you need to learn how to train it on either Amazon, which is AWS, or Microsoft Azure, right? One of the two. So those are the two common ones that are most used in the industry. So what we do is we train you with the data science associate training by Microsoft, so you know how to use Azure for actually training larger models and larger data sets.
Yeah, but I think either way, whichever certification you get, AWS, Azure, you're going to be set. Can you also expand on the coding languages that will be taught in the data science bootcamp, right? So the fundamental programming language that you're going to learn is actually Python. Like everything will be built around Python.
Yeah, and then just to add more to that, right? You also learn after you learn Python, you will learn pandas and NumPy, right? Which is basically for data pre-processing, and then you're going to move on into Matplotlib and Seaborn for data visualization, and from there we'll jump into machine learning models, right? So like unsupervised learning, supervised learning, k-nearest neighbors, quite a few algorithms you'll cover in the machine learning aspect as well.
But everything will be built in Python. So like all those libraries you will be using in Python. So how successful have you been in finding your graduates jobs?
Yeah, so I mean, I can answer this question, right? We do have a criteria that we use, right? So basically, to actually find jobs for students, right? That's basically for you to pass the course with decent marks, right? Because obviously, we wouldn't send students that did bad to a client, right? But for guys who have performed well, they've completed the course. Mainly, what we look at is your final project. If you've done really well in that, it's much more easier for us to get you jobs. If you actually complete your final project and you do well in it, there's an 80% chance of you getting the job, right? The 20% depends on how you perform in the interview, right? But we try and also improve that every second Friday we have a interview session, So basically, what we do, we try and teach you how to interact in interviews. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I think
Do you want to add to
if we,
that?
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things we pride ourselves in is actually our placement rates, right? But like Asif said, it really comes down, like it varies cohort to cohort, right? It like for example, we did a program with Naspers where our placement rate was 92%, right? So obviously our goal is to try and get everybody a job, but it's a two-way street, right? Like at the end of the day, we're equipping you with the skills, but also you need to take initiative on your side to complete the tasks, to get a certain score. I know, like, I dislike this whole thing of getting marks and all that, but like Asif said, the projects will speak volumes, attending the interview readiness sessions. There's various factors that come into play. And I think it's something to be aware of. It's a two-way street, right? Like as much as we can get you the job, because remember, at the end of the day, it's also our Zayo's reputation, right? When we place a Zayo candidate, we want them to survive and thrive in industry. So before actually recommending a profile, we make sure that this profile is actually solid on our side, right? So yeah. So Pearl says, sorry, got here late. There's a few there's a fee applicable for the application for the bootcamp. Can one do this while working?
Yeah, so basically, Pearl, to answer your question, there is a fee, right, for the bootcamp, which is 150 rands, but we've waived that off to 1 rand for the next 48 hours, right? So luckily you're here on the live, so you know about that now. And yes, you can do this while working. You can usually come back from work and cover up your classes. We've broken down the entire course into daily tasks, right? So you only have to focus on what you have to do for that day and not focus on the entire course, right? So you just come back, complete your tasks, move on to the next task, complete your task next day, and so on. So you can definitely do it by working. We also cater for you guys by having classes after hours. So we do have a class every Thursday from from at 6 o'clock, which is after working hours.
Yeah, various
And our
boot
tutors
camps.
are available at night as well. So if you come back from work and you need access to tutors, you can access them during nighttime as well.
Yeah, I think guys, something to also just be aware of on on that is yeah, like the as long as you're constantly practicing, you will be fine, and attending the live classes will be incredibly helpful, but you can also work on the weekends, right? So I think that's something that's very important, that will help you in succeeding, right? I think one more thing is that there is an application fee, and just a reminder, like from going from a 150 rand application fee, we've moved it to a 1 rand application fee just for you guys for the next 48 hours. So please go ahead, go crazy, go and apply. You never know where your career is going to end up, right? Any more questions? What are the fees that are required after the application is done?
All right, cool. I'll take this question, right? So once you've paid once the application is done, right? So either you would choose one of the three options, which is paying upfront, which is paying in 2 installments, or paying through Manati or financing partner. So if you are paying upfront, we would expect the money to be paid upfront to our bank account, and then and then when you're paying your fees in two parts, you pay your first installment, which then you send us a proof of payment for, after which we enroll you in the course. And then if you're going through Manati, right, we have to get the contract that you've signed with Manati if they are giving you the study loan. Once the contract is now in possession, we can then enroll you in the course again. So you will get all the information regarding the course, the handbook, and then you'll get all the links to orientation day. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Any more questions? What is the percentage of the people that has passed the full stack web developer program? Lovely question.
Yeah. So this has been averaging out to around 65% of the people who have passed the full stack web developer program. 70% as of now, right? But then what we do, that's completing the program within 6 months. But what we do is we also try and give the student support after the 6 months. So which means that we try and leave tutor access for them. We try and leave assignments for them to be marked. So we still try and help you for the rest of the year. So even if you don't finish within 6 months, you'll still get the 65 to 70%. We're not going to lie and say we're earning 80% or 90% like other boot camps do, right? But we're going to say the truth.
Yeah, and just on that, guys, like this is something that varies bootcamp to bootcamp, right? What Asif has given is actually an average figure. Any more questions? How much is the data science course? So we have 3 payment plans. Upfront is 29,500. Installments is 15,000 month 1, 15,000 month 2, and you can also go with Manati, which is our financing partner. They have been incredibly helpful in helping a lot of students gain access to these courses. I think it's essentially a student loan, and depending on your profile, you'll basically be given like an ideal starting point. So a lot of our students range from 1,000 to 1,300 rands a month for a certain period of time. How many of your previous learners have successfully secured jobs after completing the course?
Okay, so to give you an idea, it's definitely above 150 to 200 people, right? And that's with learned self-paced.
Yeah, so I think a great metric that I like on that is definitely go on LinkedIn and search for Zayo, and you'll be able to see all the amazing things previous learners at Zayo are actually doing, right? I think it's something that we use as a benchmark to see how exactly students are performing in industry post their programs with us.
Yeah, so basically when you go on LinkedIn, just type Zayo and you will see all the students who are working, where they're working, and you will also see that they actually done a course with us.
Any other questions? So for those who can't afford to join the upcoming boot camps, can I know when the next intake is? So ideally, you want to try and push to try and join this boot camp. If financing is a problem, definitely try and go with Manati, right? So that they can assist you in like unblocking some of the barriers, right? So we are yet to announce that. So we cannot give you a date yet, but definitely please stick around. If you're in our emails, if you're in our socials, you won't miss it. But we strongly recommend that you apply for this bootcamp. You don't want to miss this intake. Can non-South Africans also learn at Zayo? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've had quite
Non-South
a few
African
guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you can continue.
Can I watch the live later on? Absolutely, you can. This is once it's streamed, it's actually available on socials. Any other questions?
Can they pay as they go? I think that's one question I saw on Instagram.
So basically the Manati student financing. So that will depend on the profile. I'm not sure, Asif, if you want to take this one, the Manati one.
Yeah, so for obviously, so there's with Manati, like you're paying in installments, right? So what will happen is the course is for like 29,000, you're going to pay it over 12 months. But obviously they have their own interest rates that they apply when you're applying for Manati loan, right? So that's what you're going to keep in mind. But that's the only pay as I go option that I see available at the moment. Are there any specific core requirements for the course? The main requirements are just for you to have a stable internet connection and a good laptop, right? If you guys want advice on buying a laptop, you can always reach out to us and we'll guide you on what laptop to get, right? because sometimes you don't want to get like really weak laptops which can't handle a lot of processing, right? So you need a decent laptop, at least an i5 with 8 GB RAM is what I would recommend. And then just a good internet connection.
Yeah. I think as we near the end, guys, I just want to remind you all about the special offer, the surprise that we had planned, which is the 150 Rand application fee is now just 1 Rand. So please go ahead and go crazy, go and apply. You don't have to spend 150 Rands. You can just apply for 1 Rand and you can see where your future goes. Are there any other questions?
And guys, look, even if you
Yeah.
just want to add to that, right? Even if you feel like you can't afford it, right? I would say go for that application, pay 1 Rand, it's fine, and go through the Manaati process. See what's happening there. See if they're able to give you something, right? And then we can take it from there.
Yeah, so that brings us, okay, so can we get a link to the application? So yeah, you should probably be able to see that in our comments, right? Shout out to Abby, our amazing consultant who's in the chat right now. And shout out to the team for making this webinar happen. I think let's go ahead and drop the link in the chat, right, for where you can get the link to the application. Definitely head over to www.zayo.io, and the link is going to be on the header. It's straight there in front of you, and you'll be able to go ahead and apply, right? So once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this session helped clarify the differences between data science and full stack web development. At the end of the day, whichever path you choose, both fields are high in demand, right? Just get started. Take advantage of this surprise that we planned, where instead of paying 150 Rands, you can pay 1 Rand for the application fee and try and apply, right? Once your application is in our system, whether you choose to go forward now or you choose to go forward in future, we have your data with us, right? And we'll be able to remind you if you want to join us in future cohorts. So definitely take advantage of this opportunity. We don't know if we're going to do it again. Remember, instead of 150 Rand, 1 Rand application fee for the next 48 hours, only because you guys have attended this session. So also go ahead and book a consultation on zayo.io, www.zayo.io. If you have any questions, you can have a one-on-one session with our consultant who will guide you on what is the right starting point for you and take you into this industry, handhold you from the point of knowing no coding experience to actually getting a job in industry. So thank you so much for being over here. We'll see you in the next one.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Bye.